saw this guy on the train the other day, and not that I was staring or anything, but he was just sitting there, and then he started talking to himself, you know. It was like he really didn't even notice the other real people on the train. The lady sitting next to him must have thought he was really weird. She just got up and left, and he kept on going on about whatever it was he was talking about. I didn't know what was wrong with him, but he was just really weird.
Schizophrenia consists of a group of psychotic disorders characterized by profoundly distorted thoughts, perceptions, and moods. People who suffer from schizophrenia often exhibit bizarre behavior and withdraw from the world around them. There are several subtypes of schizophrenia. In this video, you will see why Peter has been diagnosed as suffering from the subtype called disorganized schizophrenia. People with disorganized schizophrenia often express incoherent thoughts and ideas. Note that although Peter's individual sentences are grammatically correct, taken as a whole, his thoughts are rambling and often incomprehensible.
I got TV tooth, they call it. TV tooth is when they surprise you and they put little needles into your scalp. And they listen to me for years, if you know it or not.
Really?
I didn't know it. They have this really fantastic, expensive equipment they touched me with. They said to me, hey, we can check your head, you know, for if your bump shows up bruised and the electricity's a little different across the scalp of your scalp, we'll guarantee you Social Security from that injury on its own. It's considered like cerebral palsy, but it would be muscular dystrophy kind of thing. And so I said, no, I don't think about it. And the next day he comes back and says, did you think about it? You know, give me a ride, you know, and all that. I said, well, okay, I'll look at it. Okay, let's go. And when they put the needle in, the last one they put in, they went like this. So when they did it, I had a thought that when they pulled them out, they pulled them out perfect, but they left a little teeny little barb in every one of the places they put me. And they recorded it. And one person who wanted it didn't. Someone else sold it to someone else. I don't know who, but they're able to give a response back because of how thick the dental is in my teeth. How thick the dental is. And with the needles, they're easy to focus a heavier field of pickup reception because of all the fillings I got. And so I...
Who's listening?
I think it's people like at Stanford and technicians, wealthy technicians and people that do stuff like NASA or any of that kind of stuff. Ames Institute. I came right up to them and tried to sell them that last little one. But for the amount of money they didn't have, I should have just gave it to them. I like watching Mr. Rogers, and I like my family, and I know it was a problem where my dad would just say, Peter, just go, leave him alone, because of the way the situation was. He never had too many arrests, so I'm the one that's got to go. A little I had rough-ups, you know. Hey, what did you do that for? Why did you go like this first? I wanted to make it green. You go to reference, right? And then they make it all green spot there, you know. Awful, you know, but that's just how adorable we were.
Peter prides himself on his architectural ability and spends many hours designing tools and even communities that he believes will help solve social problems. In the following interview, he discusses some of his recent ideas.
Can I go out and I get those things I was talking about?
Sure.
And I come back and we spend the time just filming them and I tell what they are.
Sure, that'd be great.
I'm into architecture.
Oh.
Concepts written here
Okay.
is a factor solved where you can actually get your turbines running by these many motor generators. No, these are generators creating enough current to turn a master turbine to run a whole power source without a dam.
Okay.
Or without solar energy. And I spent off and on many years in college and finally got this for an answer. You can, it's a briefing, like this is explanation for how when the generators spin, and they have a motor there that spins, one of the generators feeds the motor, which in turn runs a whole series of these generators once it gets going. And it has a lower point where you can start to get it going. And here's the big time generator bringing you all the juice you want by when you get this change the chain to spin this generator.
Okay.
When you spin it, it creates a current. Now this preceding series of motors and generators turns into perpetual motion for you once you start it by spinning a generator to get the motor going, and then when the motor gets going it turns a series, and one of the series generators brings back electricity to the motor, what keeps it going. And so that's instead of using a riverbed at all. So when a hydronuclear power plant or when an atomic power plant starts to wear down and they need to store water and they need another source of electricity, they'd have one. If I was to remove trees and replant them somewhere else in land that I bought, I would do it for the name of the tree, the nature of the tree, and all this here. And with that happening, I put a new one in its place, so the house and the street look a little farther apart from their normal, with a big tree taking up and making it a happy hollow for Batman and Robin and the beginning mechanics and girl, I can see you that far away, you look more interesting. Can I come up? It'll all disappear, a whole lot of social problems. If I do it my way, maybe. My way is, I remove the tree and I take care of the tree and I pay them like $400 towards their rent, if I had money.
Peter is currently living in a shelter for mentally ill and homeless people. While he is disconnected from many aspects of reality, you will see that he remains aware of issues of social interaction. Note the loose associations in his cognitive behavior.
I need a rest. My machine needs rest. And I was thinking, I'm always seeing all these things. I wonder what people do, for things, and to know a town better, what professionally has gone on with pre-law, and some such things, and wonder what it would be like. I've had about 11 encounters of sexual activity in my life for 41 years, so I treat them like champagne. I'm authentic, but I may need to find someone more around, and actually being injured in my crotch, but it's not impossible. But I thought sexual therapy is something I never studied, and what kind of clinics have for such things like that. And then I said, just go get a girlfriend. Come up to her, start talking, maybe get some more. It just takes longer with you. Yeah. So I need to wash my hair too. Oh! Hey, I'm not the best comedian, but I'm glad to spend time with you. I'm Peter Hassinger, and I'll probably be staying in Oregon most of my life.
Isidore has been diagnosed as suffering from undifferentiated schizophrenia. In this subtype, there is no distinct pattern to the individual's behavior. In the following interview, Isidore describes the origins of his disorder. He explains that a stressful encounter with the supernatural may have contributed to the gradual onset of his disorder. Later in the interview, Isidore describes auditory hallucinations that he experiences and describes his efforts to communicate with this unseen person. Isidore is currently receiving treatment and is living on his own in a sheltered living environment.
In 1991, I became sick.
What happened?
Really, before ever I was sick, I saw a vision of Jesus. It wasn't just like my own imagination or anything, but I'm convinced that was a vision because I've never been sick then. 3 o'clock in the morning on my window, I saw him, and he looked like the Shroud of Turin. And he spoke to me and he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And he said, little flock, do not worry. The Father is ready to give you the kingdom. So it was really a shock to me because I didn't experience all this when I was in Nigeria. I never did. So it was a shock to me. I'm not saying it's what made me sick though. But the only thing was when you encounter the metaphysical or the supernatural, not everybody will be able to handle it. So I really couldn't handle that. Yeah, it was too much for me. And it was like after that I was waking up every 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock in the night. So after this, when I was so out of this world in Chicago that when we were flying back, instead of a normal airplane flying in the air, I felt we were flying inside the ocean. That's how I felt. I was praying and, praying in tongues sometimes that the superior said, Isidore, what are you doing? I said, I'm praying. And then I saw like a war going on all over the place with different countries of Europe and all over the world. It seems like these flashes of like a Star Wars, solar war kind of thing going on. And the struggle is not to go to heaven, but the struggle is like taking over Earth, planet Earth. So that was this big struggle, When I came back, they put me in the hospital, not a mental hospital, psychiatric. They said, Isidore, you haven't slept, you haven't rested, you haven't drunk, you haven't eaten. All you have been doing is praying. And so I was in Brigham Hospital in Boston, and I was there for a whole night. When I was there too, I was in a different existence. Yeah. So they gave me shots to make me to sleep. I couldn't sleep. I was like climbing different steps. It's like a sort of world, and you start seeing yourself in different existence, like going one step after the other, like a big building, and seeing people, colors, blue, white, yellow, and seeing different things. And I was wondering, is this what heaven is like or what? And then I didn't know, but the next time I woke up, I was in a mental hospital. Yeah. So that was the greatest shock of my life. And sometimes I ask, what is your name? Like I was in a vision. It was like a dream and vision. I was sleeping, and this is before I came here. So this person was like on top of me, but the body was like made of gold. It's not like human body. So we were wrestling or something. That's what it looked like. And then normally if I'm sleeping and people knock or do any small thing, I wake up. My cousin said he came to my apartment and was knocking and knocking for 30 minutes that I didn't get up. Normally, if people do that, I will wake up like that. So at the end, I asked this being, what is your name? Then he said, my name is Willie. And then disappeared. That was it. Yeah.
You don't know why that happened?
I think it might be trying to tell me that God wants me to do His will. Yeah.